Hello and welcome to another episode of Santa Killer Projects. Today we're going to show you how to change the spark plugs out on a 2008 3.7 liter V6 Mazda CX9. This is my buddy Eric's car. He may or may not be in front of the camera. One way or the other, I can give you a link to his barbecue page, which is really awesome. So we'll make sure to check that out too. But as of now, we're going to pop the hood and start taking stuff off. So here's the engine. What we're going to do first is take off the oil cap because it helps keep the cover in place, and then we're going to pop the cover off. The cover is just held in with little plugs on the top of it. It's pretty simple, so we'll take that off and get down to where the engine's at. Here it is with the cover off of it. The first thing we're going to do is take this little breather off of it. There's a little lever on the back of it. You push it back, and then the guy just slips off and moves out of the way. That'll give us clearance to the front three. These are going to be the easiest ones to do. This is very similar to how the Pentastar motor is, and has the intake that rides over the top of the back three, so those are going to be the difficult ones. Okay, so to start on this, we're going to start removing each of the coil packs. This coil packs are replaced. As you can see, Eric did a really awesome job getting the brittle plastic plug off of it. So this one we're going to end up having to kind of tape it to help it back into place once we're done. But you want to push back on these little red tabs. You can sometimes assist it with a screwdriver and it'll keep it from breaking. Then same thing, you want to get a screwdriver underneath here just to help release the mechanism, and at the same time you want to push down on this little tab and then kind of work them back. This one I've already started to get loose, so it should come off nice and easy like that. Then we're going to use an 8mm and we're going to pull these off. I'm going to do these one at a time, so this one I'm going to slide back in place so I don't lose the positions, because I don't want to try and hook the wrong wires the wrong places. Even though these wires are too small to move from place to place, it's just smarter to do that when you're doing the plugs like this. So as you can see on this first one, we've got the plug off of it. I've taken the bolt out of it. The next thing we're going to do is just gently pull up on this until it makes a popping sound. It's going to release off of the top of the plug. It's really common for it to do it. That little clunking sound is the sound of it relieving, and then your spark plug is down in the hole. We have the first one out. It came off with a 5/8 inch spark plug socket. The original plugs that were in here were the Motorcraft F22 FMs, and then we are going to be replacing them with some Bosch double iridium plugs that are 9616 is the part number for those. The gap we have set at 0.054, and we're going to be dropping these back in. You can see here I've got my really long extension on it, and how I do this is just I set them down into the hole, and then I start them by hand to make sure that I can feel that the plugs are actually going into where they're supposed to. I tighten it most of the way down with my hand, and then I put the wrench on top of it to finish setting them into place so that I don't over tighten them. Once you get to where it's close to being finished, you just put a little turn on it to make sure that it's snug, and then pull it out. So for the next one, it's going to go basically the same way. We're going to drop this in, and then I'm going to pull this guy off and take this one out. We'll do these off camera. They're pretty simple and easy to see. The next ones that are going to be a pain are the ones in the back underneath the intake. We're in the middle of doing the front ones. I want to make a note. We are using spark plug boot protector. We're just putting it around areas that are not going to be involved in the electrode. There's an upper section around the top where it helps seal it in, and then some vane bits down at the bottom. We put it on that as well as we dropped it down in. This spark plug boot is actually messed up and has some of the rubber pulled up from somebody having changed it once upon a time. We just put it in and kind of wiggled it around until we got the boot to all drop in, and then pushed it down, put the bolt on. So when you put these clips on, you push them up until they click, and then once they click and it's on the other side, you take this red tab and shove it back up into place to get it to go in. If any of this stuff sticks, just be real careful. These plastic plugs all get brittle, break really easy, so just gentle. And now we're going to start on the back. This is going to be the big mess. We're going to have to pull the intake manifold off. The plugs are underneath it back there. Okay, so for the first part, to get the intake off, we want to take this intermediate box off. Because of the fact that we have an air cleaner that's got to be changed also, I'm going to pull the whole assembly off. So like your coil packs, there's a safety on the red tab, and then you pull this guy back and it comes off with a clip on the bottom. Then this whole assembly will come out. There's a Phillips head screw, which you can't really access the Phillips head right there that goes onto the throttle body. It also takes 10 millimeter, so we loosened up the 10 millimeter to get it loose, and then we're gonna pull this guy back to get it off of the throttle body, which will relieve it from being on the intake. Since we're pulling the whole airbox cover off, and you need to get this intermediate section out, one of the things I missed is there's a breather hose on the other side that goes to this back guy. You just squeeze the clamp together to get it back from its home position and pop it loose, and then the whole assembly will come up and out of the way. All right, intake. There are 2 bolts on the side, one here, 2 on the side. That's the front half. All of those have to come out. These actually will come all the way up and out. I'm going to leave them in place because they're different heights for different positions. So this is the one for the right side. Also, there is a wire loom holder right here. It should pop out of the intake. It doesn't always want to. Again, old car. This one broke off in the process of trying to get it out. Doesn't really matter. Just keeps the wires laying across here. Once this gets tight, it'll be out of the way and lay right where it's gotta go. So here's the intake off. To get it out, we had to remove this clip off of an air setup that's on the other side. We had to take the clip off the side of the throttle body. There's 2 hoses that are a huge pain in the butt to get off. Once you get all of them off, you still can't get it out, and I'll show you why. There's an air controller that sits right here on this bracket, and it blocks everything from coming off. So you have to unbolt those 2 off, and then it opens up the way to the back 3 spark plugs. The one hose is this curved guy right here. It connects the valve sides, just a breather to go up into the intake, and then there's one hose on the back of that controller that comes up and around and then goes into the other side of the intake. So now the upper intake is off, the lower intake is going to stay in place, and we're just going to cover this with something so we don't drop dirt and dust inside of it. So as we've been doing this, it's decided to rain, so we've been doing this in the rain, which is a lot of fun. It's raining at the moment, which means I want to go over and work inside of this thing even less because I'm just going to get poured on. But once you have that intake off, this goes exactly the same as the other ones. The bolts on the side, the clip, to relieve the clip, you just push down on the back of the latch that holds it in place and push it back. Once those are out, pop this guy up, change the plug from the inside. I have to use a little bit of a shorter extension because this one is my giant extension won't fit underneath the dash here. And then once it gets tight, just snug it up a little bit, change them out just like the front ones went. At this point, we've actually changed out all 3 of the spark plugs in the back. One thing I do want to note, there are some torque specs on a lot of this stuff. Like the coil packs have a 14 foot-pound torque setting, but 14 foot-pounds is pretty much snug. Everything in here is plastic. Everything that you're going to tighten down to is plastic. If you crank down hard on it, it will break. Your best bet is just to torque everything to snug. I could sit here and give you all the torque values, all the bolt holes for the intake manifold on either side, but it's not really necessary. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to leave that air controller out of the way, and we're going to sneak the intake manifold, the upper intake manifold, back in and down, and then we're going to set the bolts and the hoses around it and clip all that in. Once you slide the intake into position, the first things you're going to do is connect the back hose on the left, which is my fingers touching. There's a back hose on the right, which we've now put the air actuator in front of, but it is back here. Then you're going to set your bolts into place. I actually said one of the bolts was wrong. I said it went back here. It actually goes underneath the throttle body right there. You can actually see it just under the throttle body. Try to point at it. It is that guy right there. That is where that little short stubby one goes. So there's 2 up front, 2 in the middle, 2 on the right side, and 1 underneath the throttle body. There are no bolts in the back. Everything attaches to where the intake comes in and lays over. Then we're just going to start reconnecting hoses. We had to put this air actuator back into place, and that's why it's blocking some of the stuff. So We're going to tighten all this stuff down and then show you where the connectors all go. Now we've gotten the connectors back on. This is the one for the throttle body. You push it down, push the red tab in. That one locks that into place. We also took off this blue one for this air actuator. It's just a little horseshoe clip. It's got two little detents in it. You slide it up over the little ridge in the pipe and then drop it down. Then at this point we replaced the air filter because the air box is going to go back in. It was replaced with a STP PSA 10242. If you're going to get a Fram, it's a CA. That's actually what came out, was a CA. Okay, so at this point we've wrapped up all of the work part of it. As you can see, we put the boot back on for the air cleaner, attached it on this end, connected the electrical, changed the air filter out, locked the clip back up on the box, and put the breather connector back on in the front. So with that, we're done, but you should never call a spark plug job done until you've actually ran it to make sure that it's not missing or having any throttle issues. So there it is, running, no miss, seems to be idling up normally, so that is another job in the books. Well done. They changed the spark plugs on 07 to 2012 Mazda CX9 with 3.7 liter. If you were able to figure anything out or learn anything from watching our videos, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also having a giveaway for a $100 Rock Auto gift card. If you want to see that, that's on another video that is also up on our channel. All you have to do is subscribe to our channel and make sure to send a screenshot to us about the fact that you're subscribed, and you get entered to win a $100 Rock Auto gift card. So thanks again for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.